Well, Jason's back.
We're on, boys. We are on. We are here with our first ever guest and our first ever...
Oh, we're recording.
Yeah, we're on. It's fucking happening. I've made sure of it too. So he's our first ever guest and he's our first ever repeat guest.
Okay, so first of all, before we talk about anything else, are we actually 100,000% recording or not?
Straight up. The red buttons are red.
It's on.
All right,
Is
we're
there
on.
sound coming through the computer?
Correct.
Everything's done.
Because I like Josh, but I don't know whether we should do this 3 times.
Third time's a charm. Nah, second time's Gucci. Let's just keep it at 2. So yeah, full disclosure, we did this not last weekend, the weekend before.
I like how you're outing yourself before we out you.
Yeah, I fucked it up. I'm going Eminem right now. Fuck it. I'm just going to talk shit on myself so that you guys can't.
Love it. This seat is really fucking high.
Sit on that one. No, that one's lower, trust me. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so I fucked up the recording. This is our new show. We had a great show. We spent an hour talking shit last time. Joe Hill came up with the name. What's the name of our new show, Joe Hill?
Gypsy Tales World Wide.
What? So because I guess that's what we're doing. We're going worldwide. We're gonna do this new,
No different.
This new like kind of Skype sort of video call show. And we thought with Joe Hill's Urban Rider clip that he dropped a couple weeks ago, he'd be like the perfect dude to talk to. And then we ended up just talking a bunch of mad shit. It was a really fun show. So
It was a really fun show. Sorry you couldn't hear it.
I'm gonna try and replicate the greatness. It was so. It was so,
actually a really good one. I was really disappointed.
What's that?
Just check.
Huh?
This would be better.
Come check this.
All right, you guys kick it off. We're gonna.
Oh, here we go. So they're actually going to triple check because now he's paranoid. That's awesome. Oh, shit. That's awesome. What trophies you got up
Should
there
we redo
behind
the
you? Is that a
intro or
Glen-
should we?
Sorry, what are those up there?
Yeah, that's my brother's. That's my brother's.
Oh.
I never got yeah, he's got some memorabilia around here. But
That's
yeah,
sick.
we got third place Melbourne Supercross trophy back
Oh,
there though.
nice.
Hard earned.
There you go. It's the third place Melbourne Supercross trophy up there behind him.
Oh, we talked about it. Don't worry. We had an off-air chat. We almost got it on the couch. So, Joe Hill, what's been going on, brother?
Not too much, man. Just trying to balance being a Supercross racer and also filming Real Moto. So it's been and doing other projects like Urban Rider and I just went and did this cool video with Racer X yesterday with Darren Durham.
Oh,
so
sick.
just ride my dirt bike a lot and trying to kind of balance those two out.
Yeah. Dude, how dirty was Darren Durham's crash?
Fuck.
Was that one of the
man.
gnarlier crashes like that's come out in a long time?
It's one of those things, like that was one of the scariest looking crashes I've ever seen. And then like, you know, it's your buddy too. Like Darren Durham's one of my favorite people in the sport, and he's one of my favorite riders. And
Yeah.
to see that, like, it was gnarly. I was lucky that like somebody warned me, like, it's gnarly, but he's okay.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It looked like he was, yeah. So that was nuts. I guess there was like a little hole that you can kind of see in the video, like, and I guess he had fallen earlier in the day and had some grit in his throttle, and so
Yeah.
it just didn't help, and just caught a wheelie. Like, he said he was gonna wheelie into the face, like purposely, and then kind of, you know, set it down and like get
Yeah.
some extra pop. And
With that mad
the front
style
just
that
didn't
he's
set
got.
down.
Dude.
Yeah, so
It's hectic. So
he was out riding with me yesterday. He's still a little bit sore. Like he
bet.
wasn't running at quite full capacity, but you know, he's on a bike again. So a week after that double backflip dismount.
Dude, right.
I bet he cleaned his throttle out.
Can we just, all right, let's just go around the web and talk about some of the weirdness that's happened with like, so I feel like the Darren Durham crash is like one.
Yeah.
And then fucking Grant Bink doing a double backflip, first time ever hitting the moon booter. And then Harry Bink doing a fucking triple flip. Like, there's been some weird shit on the internet the last couple weeks.
Yep.
I literally just was on Harry's page because Molly was like, "Did you see that picture of Harry and Shelby?" He said. So I just was on there. Then I started scrolling down and seeing Grant's double backflip, and I mean, obviously, I already seen Harry doing working on the triple flip, and it's just
Yeah, I went for.
and,
I was,
I'm in my backyard feeling good doing one. You know, Harry's doing
On your
triple, and
Tesla.
Grant, who doesn't even ride, is doing double.
I'm feeling good about doing none.
You're over there on your Tesla doing backflips.
Dude, Grant's so gnarly.
Yeah.
Like, I went for a walk with him the other morning and we were cruising along and he's just like, yeah, I just like sent a double backflip yesterday, into the pit. And I was like, why? And he goes, I don't know. Like, I just sort of felt like I could do it. And I'm like, okay.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine a fucking Nitro Circus double flip train with Harry and Grant as a back tattoo, and then Grant and Harry as a back tattoo? Would that
no one with any shirts on?
would that be the weirdest fucking flip in action sports?
Yeah, we need Grant on tour, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know whether the world needs Grant on tour.
Grant's so fucking gnarly that he's on tour at home.
Yeah.
He's like always on tour.
He's on tour, but he
never
just
leaves
doesn't
the
leave.
postcode. Yeah.
Doesn't leave Burley, but he's on tour.
Awesome.
That's for sure.
Oh, fucking hell. How did the Urban Rider get received?
I think everybody kind of thought it was weak, and it was like,
I didn't think it was.
I thought it was great.
It's a good video. Like, I mean, I liked it.
You filmed
I had a
it in
lot
like
of fun
4
doing
days.
it. Yeah, we just didn't have time to I didn't have that. I think everybody's so accustomed to just having that one just banger, crazy new shot, and for me, it was just making a video that is going to be entertaining, riding a bike like where you wouldn't see a bike normally. So that was it was really fun to make, and it was cool. And we had about a week window to get something done and put something out, so it was cool.
I feel like at the moment everyone's putting out like quick content, rather than spending like 2 months on a clip or on a video. There's because the world, because everyone's consuming so much of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like it seems that brands are just pushing out like heaps of like smaller. You can tell that they haven't spent 2 months on it. That they've just gone and banged it out in like 2 or 3 days and put something out, which is, I reckon, it's sick because it gives all of us something new to watch when there's fucking nothing else to watch or nothing else to do, I guess.
I think like people are jaded too on like the big shit. Like, Berriman put out his, like they did that remix of like Berriman's clip at when he was a Moto Sandbox or like wherever it was, and it's like he's hitting like 180 foot fucking doubles and shit. Like people are just so jaded, man, to where it's like I almost feel like it felt like Urban Rider, like what you put out was more like a core skate clip, if that makes sense. It wasn't like a fucking girl skate film, but it was like the old school, like just core. This is just like a fucking solid edit. But you're right, it didn't have like a Cineflex and a fucking Phantom, and it wasn't shot on 20 Reds, because it just seems like people just expect that shit these days.
Well, I mean, it was me, one filmer, and my girlfriend Molly filming, and GoPros and Insta360 cams. I mean, it was basically I just went out, scouted, found some stuff, and I mean, there was a lot of the stuff I did in it was like real technical, just like that one little bunny hop over the wall down the embankment to the landing, like that. That clip was pretty tricky to do, and I was pretty pumped because nobody bunny hops a dirt bike. And I just used like a little curb to like bunny hop over a wall and then down a hill, and that was pretty cool. And some of the jumps
one drop was
too,
pretty savage too.
Yeah, I mean there was some cool stuff. Oh yeah, the one drop like from like one parking lot down to another. Yeah, it was pretty big and had no landing, and I was in
you could tell that
just
thing
like
hit
tennis
hard.
shoes, work boots. So it's I mean there was some stuff that was pretty sick in it, and I really enjoyed filming it. But yeah, there wasn't like I didn't invent any tricks. I just went and rode some new stuff and had a good time, and it was really cool. Like, I mean, just it's the stuff I like doing. I basically just put out a video of what I like doing. So if people like it, I'm stoked. And if people were, didn't think that it was, all that great, a lot of, I understand that too. And I'll be coming out with something for Real Moto that will hopefully change those people's mind.
Yeah. It's kind
of a bunch of different projects.
Real Moto is going to be kind of gnarly this year. I feel like without actual X Games, Real Moto is kind of
that's everything. Like I had Creed in my office like yesterday or the day before or whatever. He called in to pick something up, or I don't know what he was doing, but he was just saying that like obviously with no actual X Games, that's kind of it. It's like there's one event for the year and it's Real Moto.
Is he in that?
Yeah.
Is Creed's in?
Yeah.
Oh, gnarly. Okay. Yeah.
You're
I
like,
didn't even hear who
"Ooh."
he's all. Oh yeah, he's gonna be pushing it. That's for sure.
Shit.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I had originally thought it was gonna be. I had heard it was Foster, myself, Axel is what I had heard. Raha and Vicky Golden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
right.
5, right? Yeah. So, and then I'd heard rumors that Axel might have dropped out, so that would make sense that.
Why
Creed's
would
in.
Axel drop out, you reckon? Probably some political shit, or like just didn't want to?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe just the budget probably isn't big enough for what he has in mind. You know?
Yeah,
Like
true,
we get like $12,000 to film like a video, which is awesome that we have that. But it's to
It
do
doesn't
what
go
you
too
really
far.
want to do, you're kind of coming out of pocket, in hopes to
Yeah.
get that gold medal and that extra bonus. We're kind of like betting on
Yeah.
ourselves to kill it and make money by just being gnarly. It's
yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah, like
crazy.
you kind of don't get anything if you don't win, essentially, because it's like you can't keep any of that money and still win that you get originally.
Like I'll be out of pocket if I don't win.
Yeah,
The way I'm hitting it, like
that's
So
fucking
that's,
sick.
uh,
though.
You got to invest in yourself.
exactly. I'm gonna try to. I'm just gonna
He was
try to do
feeling
my
bougie,
best.
and I like it.
You get one. You get one chance if you do it and you suck and you don't make an impact, or not even suck. Like if you just do it and you don't there's been a lot of really good videos and the people didn't get invited back. Like Hillsack
Yeah.
had a really sick video and I don't think he made the podium. And then Durham's video, it was pure Durham, and I loved watching it. And he's got the sickest style and probably had the biggest free ride hit, but didn't. He didn't make the podium, and so he's they don't invite you back for Bierman didn't meet the requirements to get invited back. That's why we haven't seen him, which
That's
I think
fucking
is kind of
hectic.
bogus. It's Bierman's that's an event.
Him and
made for
Axel are the
Bierman.
dudes.
Yeah,
really,
yeah. Like
him,
Ty-
Axel,
Tyler is
Foster.
Real Moto.
Yeah,
Yeah, him, Axel,
Foster
Chris
seems to be there
Foster,
every year though, right?
Raha. Well, yeah, because he's either wins the fan vote or
Yeah.
That's true.
he medal. I don't think he's ever not medaled.
Yeah, his stuff's always sick, and same with Raha.
If you put together Foster, everybody forgets about Foster because he kind of just does that one big piece a year. and
yeah.
then
He doesn't fight to stay
doesn't
relevant all
really-
year.
Yeah, he doesn't fight the social media relevancy battle. He just puts out his project. It's really sick. And then when you go back and I've been just watching all the old Real Motos going, okay, that was sick. Just trying to get
Yeah,
ideas and kind of understand the criteria and just the way the whole program's ran. Now we have a big enough catalog of old events that I can kind of study it and see what worked and what didn't, and try to come up with some, stuff. But I was watching Foster's, and Foster's his highlight reel from Real Moto is it's pretty nuts. But Creed coming into it, that's going to be now we basically have two Rahas. We got two dudes. We got two dudes that are degaff and
Full
just gonna
degaff.
send it. They're gonna definitely lay it out on the line. It's gonna be sick. And Creed, I don't think anybody really knows what he's capable of, other than that he just goes insane off a quarter pipe. So
Yeah.
that's actually now that I'm hearing that, I'm kind of scared.
it's crazy, man, because it's you're
When
talking
you said that, I was like, shit, did I just say something I wasn't meant to say? And then I realized he's posted it all over his social media.
fuck it. This show needs
I
an
don't pay
exclusive.
attention enough. I don't pay
No,
attention
that's
enough
good.
to that stuff.
That's
Yeah.
good.
It's funny though. It's you're watching fucking tape, pretty much, of X Games Real Moto. I'm watching tape, like a fighter watches tape to get ready for a fight, and there's here comes this wild Australian cunt that has no tape. And you're
yeah.
fuck, I'm kind of scared of him. I hear he's got knockout power.
Well, yeah, he does. I mean, I know what he's capable of. The guy just basically say, "Hey, I want to be in this. Let me in. I'll show you what's up." And
Yeah.
we're all kind of we hear that, and we're like, "Okay, we've heard this before. We'll see what's up." And then
Yeah.
he shows up, and then he shows up, and yeah, he meant what he said. Like he was gnarly. So
it's
that's,
you are right, man. Like, how many people would have been like, "I'm gonna go to X Games, bro," or like, how many big whips do you see? And then,
well, dude, the whole Corey Creed story is so fucking sick. Like, he was literally like, "Oh, I think I can do that quarter pipe thing pretty good. I'm just gonna learn how to do that." And then we're all like, "Okay, cool." Like, because like we were all mates with him before, and I knew he rode pretty good, but I didn't know like how out of. And then all of a sudden, he was just like, "Hey man, like, can I grab some gloves?" Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no worries." And then next minute, he's just like, the man, like literally like 2 months later.
Well, there's a thing too, like, some guys can practice really well. Like, if you got a backyard setup, like, if you have a backyard setup with a quarter pipe and that's what you do all day, and you get super comfy and it's like, yeah, look at this video of me, I'm the man, I'm blasting and I can smoke all you guys.
Yeah,
that's one thing. And you have every right to say that, I guess, if you're feeling it, but then showing up and then delivering a new setup, a new setup in front of everybody when the TV guy goes, "Go!" Like, you have to,
and you're like,
you have to,
and you realize how good everyone else is.
Yeah, and I mean that dude showed up. Did he win his first time?
Yeah. Nah. Did he win his first time?
Nah, didn't he get
right there if he didn't.
Yeah, I feel like he won like last year he won everything, and then the year before was like his first year on the fucking kind of like the big stage.
Silver. I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah, Google that shit because
I don't remember, but
I always tell lies.
When they're all like, it's kind of like there was like 3 guys that were up here out of the roof, and then it was just like the next group of guys, and then there was me.
Yeah, well, you probably had like the least amount of time on it though. Like, do you reckon? Is it something that you wish you could practice more? Like, do you think you could get it good? Because there's no like, I mean, you know it, I know it, Sam knows. Like, there's not that many dudes out there that are more talented than you on a bike. Like, that's pretty much a fact.
Well, for me, I was the team manager at Monster. Like when they decided to have that event, right?
Yeah,
and they didn't have enough guys to fill it that would hit the ramp. So I was already going as a team manager, so I just threw my bike on the truck. And so they, I found out a couple weeks before, like, I would be in. So this was the first year I went to do it, like when it was brand new, like nobody, they had it set up at Paula. So I went out and practiced one day and started airing it big, like not big, but big for me. I mean, I was probably, I was 25 feet probably. Yeah. And I threw a whip and then it fell back on me on one of them. And then I ate it pretty good and like broke my foot. And I didn't tell anybody because like if I would have told my employer that, I just busted my foot on this thing. But so I just ran it and then didn't practice and then stayed up all night as the team manager with all the Australians at the Monster party, then just went to the thing. And then I almost got third. I was 6 inches out of third my first time there.
6 inches short, eh?
Yeah, 6 inches out of third. I was third all the way till the last round, and then it got bumped. But either way, it was just like, I practiced one time. It was cool. It was a new event, and I was thinking the next year I'm like, yeah, that would be sick. Like if I practiced. I mean, if I go another 5-10 feet, that should be easy, and then I'll be right in the mix. Well, those guys now are going like another, they're going like 30-something feet, like 35, 36 feet.
Yeah, it's like
and
36 feet, I think, right?
They're measuring it at a. And isn't it at the lowest point of your bike or the frame or something? And
center of isn't it like the center of mass or some shit?
According to Corey's website. His nitro, well, it depends on whether you're talking nitro or X Games because it's completely different. But the nitro one, his record's 46.8 foot above the ramp.
Fuck all that.
Yeah, that's nuts. And that ramp's 30
that's
feet
too
tall.
high.
So
that's not okay.
That's the world record height for a bike jump, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe Sam not if you count Robbie Madison jumping up onto that arc.
Yeah. No. Yeah, so I think I think Maddo still has the record for jumping up. But maybe it's a different record because he's jumping up and then not returning, and then returning separately, whereas Creed's, I don't know. This is very technical.
It's totally different, but
yeah.
I think that Matto probably has. I mean, Matto's ramp was like twice as high too, though. So I mean, it's kind of like I don't know how you.
Yeah, but I think that's
he would probably have the biggest height. Creed would have to have the biggest height above
whatever
the
lip,
above the coping.
Yeah, he would have to.
But I think the X Games quarter and the Nitro Games quarter are completely different.
Well, one's like 18 foot, one's 36 foot, right?
Yeah,
it's like double the size.
The X Games quarter pipe is smaller than the quarter pipe on the mega ramp, which is right. That's I really like for how big those guys are going. It's not even remotely safe. Like your suspension bottoms out in that chain.
It's fucking scary looking, isn't it? I remember the first time I saw you guys hit it at X Games, I was like, what?
I've never seen it in real life.
Dude, it's just like, you just look at it, it's just a wall. It just goes like up there.
I mean, there's a straight up ramp. These dudes are hitting it on their 450s as fast as they'll go. And they're going straight up. They're not carving. And then they've figured out just by being nuts that if you go straight up, you turn it and then you turn it a little bit, somehow you'll fall into the other ramp and land on the right wheel. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, the physics behind it don't make sense.
It's fucking
I don't do it that way.
I know that if the ramp is like a little bit in or a little bit out, it makes like meters worth of difference on the down ramp.
Yeah.
Like, I know if it's not right, it's really wrong, eh?
It makes a complete difference on suspension settings too. Like if somebody has super, or if they don't have like Supercross or stiffer suspension and they hit that thing, like they're going to blow through the ramp and deck it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because their suspension's sacked out and it's going to like just push them off because it's not vert, it's like a couple of degrees under vert. Yeah. So the guys that have stiff suspension when they hit it, like there's just so much that goes into it that makes it so gnarly that people can't, like people probably just see it now and just think, oh, you should be able to jump a quarter pipe 50 feet on a dirt bike because it's got a motor. Like, it doesn't
the
make sense.
The whole physics of the whole thing is just fucking mental.
Yeah, and if you turn off it too early, then the rear will fall behind. Like, it's a pretty gnarly thing, and like Corey Creed figured it out, and him and like 3 or 4 other people on this whole planet have figured that out. And they've took it to such a level that, I don't want anything to do with it.
You're like, I'm not interested. No, thank you.
It happened quick though, too. Like 3 years, man. And it's like 3 years, and they're the best dudes in the world. Like, you know what? Fuck this. They can have it. They've got it. I don't want it.
Yeah, I want it.
Yeah, because McNeil was right up there at the start, wasn't he? And he seems to have just fallen off because he had that big crash, at X Games and did his hip.
I think McNeil hit it like as high as he's ever hit it, like the first time it was around.
Yeah.
Like maybe he's gone like a couple of feet higher, but McNeil showed up at because the first place we did it was at Vegas in the parking lot of Monster Cup.
Yeah.
Like when I was working at Monster, we Ash Hodges and me and all the Monster people kind of put together this little contest over there. And that was actually why I wrote it there too, because we thought, we'll set this thing up. We have 16 of the gnarliest freestyle riders. They're like,
they'll all hit it.
We'll find 6 people to want to jump this thing. And then
I was like, 2.
Again, nobody would hit it in practice. So I was like, they needed somebody to ride the contest. So I had my bike there and I rode it.
Like, oh, well, here we go again.
Yeah. So that, and then people were like, oh, you can ride that quarter pipe. So then I got signed up for competitions just because like I was around the quarter pipe.
You got signed up to everything because you didn't crash.
Yeah, so I mean, I never like. Dude, that was never.
We need to do you up a fucking bench warmers jersey. That'd be so. You're like the bench.
Like, I'm going in.
Yeah, just the lifetime fill-in.
But it's just like the full savage.
Josh is just like good at stuff, so it's like everyone knows that if anyone fucks up, you can pretty much just get Josh to go do it, whether it's a hill climb, motocross, supercross, quarter pipe,
I may not be prepared.
But you'll do it.
But I'll get it in the show.
You'll pull over that Flint, Michigan jersey. The Flint Tropics.
So good.
Oh, that's funny. So, how has all the Supercross prep been going? So do you know? So 2 weeks ago when we did the first show,
You didn't know, but maybe you do now.
yeah. But it's like, has anything different happened? Like, where are we at with as far as you know with Supercross? Because everyone seems like they're starting to ride more.
Insider line here.
Well, yeah, everybody's starting to ride. They're trying to come back. They've basically, again, you're not getting real insider information. You're getting insider secondhand information.
Yeah.
So you're on Vital too.
Yeah. No, but it's what I'm hearing is May 31st we're going racing Supercross. Like Feld is doing they're doing everything they can to go race May 31st, and it's between 4 locations right now because they wanted to originally do it in Arizona. The Arizona deal got pushed back to where they're not positive if they can do it in Arizona, so they've got 3 other stadiums on the
Florida
line
has
for
to be one of them.
No,
Those motherfuckers
I
will do
don't think
anything.
Florida already opened up their first events.
For sure.
25% capacity or something, I heard.
Yeah, they're fucking crazy. They'll do that shit for sure. What other states are crazy? Because that's really what we're
there's
looking
some
at.
crazy states.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's where Supercross will be.
Yeah, no, I think I heard Utah's wants to come is in the running too. I heard Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah, St. Louis, possibly Houston or possibly Arizona.
Okay.
Is what I've been hearing. So it'll be one of those places. We're trying to go racing May 31st, and then I heard it. Everything else that I've heard, it's going to be 7 rounds in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Is kind of.
So do you think it'll be just the one location? It'll be one of those locations. Do you reckon?
Yeah, it'll be one of those locations.
One location, 7
times.
rounds. Shit.
That's so sick.
That's what I'm hearing. I mean, things can change, but it'll. I'm kind of rooting for Salt Lake because that's a cool city and there's a lot of stuff to do around there. Because if we're in Phoenix,
because you'll be there,
and because if we do it in Phoenix, it's gonna be 105 to 110 out every day, and there's nothing to do. I mean, I shouldn't say there's nothing to do, but
I'll say there's nothing to do for you.
Well, I mean,
unless you want to play golf,
normally,
because there's a lot of dope golf courses.
Yeah, I don't play golf, but there's a lot of fun bars, and the nightlife's out there is awesome, but that's not going right now. So I don't know what we'd really be doing out there besides cooking.
And racing dirt bikes.
I ain't talking Martha Stewart. Dude, fucking Scottsdale, Arizona. We used to go there for the Phoenix Open every year. Hot damn. That fucking place. That's one of the most lit cities
I was
the
there
US.
in January.
In Scottsdale?
Yeah. I went there to see Dixon.
Oh, yeah, you did.
There in Arizona.
Dude, that place for fucking Phoenix Open just blew my shit. I was like, this town's something else.
Fucking goes off, doesn't it?
It's like a mini Vegas.
Kind of is, huh?
It's like
Cowboy
pool
Vegas.
Parties,
Cowboy Vegas.
Kind of. It's like pool. They have just pool parties, day clubs everywhere.
Yeah,
it's pretty. I didn't know it either until I went one time, and I was like, whoa, this is right here. Yeah. So
whoa, I'm coming back.
Yeah, so I mean, but that stuff isn't going to be going. I don't know. I mean, I'm just rooting for Salt Lake because that's closer to where I grew up and it's beautiful up there. So hopefully that's where they end up. I mean, St. Louis would be sweet too, and Houston's
good dirt
got
at St.
a great
Louis
stadium. Yeah, so same with Houston. The best dirt would be Houston or St. Louis. But
yeah, because I feel like the Salt Lake dirt is not that good.
No, well, it's going to be hot in Salt Lake too. It won't be as hot as Phoenix, but it's a real dry climate up there. So the tracks, and it's an open stadium, so it's going to be slick for practice and then hard pack for the main.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it goes there.
The crazy thing is, you think about 7 rounds, 1 stadium, you've got a championship on the line in 3 classes, and the 450 class is probably one of the gnarlier championships ever that we've really seen. I mean, this has to be one of the craziest championships ever. When all things considered, because
everything got cancelled in the middle of it.
Yeah, but I mean, even before that, it was sick as fuck. If Eli Tomac doesn't win this title, everyone's gonna be like, what the fuck, bro? If Ken Roxon doesn't win this title, everyone's gonna be like, what the fuck, bro? It's that's kind of gnarly to have those two dudes peak era
both what the fuck broing.
Yeah, and then we're like, then in the middle of the season where it's like both of those dudes have to kind of win, then you go, whoa, global pandemic, let's shut this shit down. Then we'll come back and we'll race 7 rounds in one stadium. One of you guys is probably going to adapt to this dirt way better than the other. And it's like, literally the dirt on the floor of the stadium could dictate the championship in a way. Because it's like, you look at Phoenix, like Ken at Phoenix, if the Supercross championship finished at Phoenix, I'd probably have my money on Ken. If the championship, like we did 7 rounds at St. Louis, then I'm probably going to switch my money over to Eli. Just purely based on like the way they ride and the kind of dirt that suits and the kind of tracks that seem to suit. So it's like, how gnarly is it that literally the dirt that ends up like lucking out could play such a massive like role in the championship?
100%. Like if it was at Phoenix, and like watching how good Roxon rode this year at Phoenix, like you kind of almost got to put your money on him. I mean, he won all 3 motos, like
by a lot. Yeah.
And he just rides that stuff really good. And then if you put it in Salt Lake, I think the nod definitely goes to Eli, in my opinion, because he's from altitude. He's used to his bike not being fast. He's used to breathing that stuff.
And probably used to the dirt drying out in a very similar way.
I don't know if they're dirt similar, but I'm sure just the altitude, like, you know, that's a huge thing. When you go to 4,000 or 5,000 feet, like your bike goes, like if you have your mod bike feels like a stock bike pretty much.
Yeah.
It's that much difference. And then if you took it to like St. Louis or Houston, one where like it just, you know, the ruts start out at the top and then they start working their way down and it gets tighter and tighter. Like then you almost gotta, not that you could ever count out Cooper Webb, but when the tracks start getting like that, and if there's 7 weekends like that, where you're picking lines and jumping through whoops and doing all that kind of technical point stuff, like he is really good at that. And you know, you could be upset in 7 rounds if the conditions are right for Cooper. It's what, 20
seven wins would really swing things.
Yeah. So I mean, it's nuts. And then on the light side, I think this Sexton and McElrath are still pretty close in points. And then I think Ferrandis has kind of got a little bit of a gap on the West Coast. So and there's less rounds for them. So he might be in the safest position really when it comes to a championship at anybody.
I feel like they need to have like a whole gate left of Ferrandis for his dick to sit. Like they just almost like can't fit a rider there. Like his big dick energy is just like so fucking gnarly this season that it's like, hey, we're only doing 19 riders because we need a whole lane here for fucking Ferrandis right now. I don't know that anyone is stopping that motherfucker. He's on some G shit.
He's got the aggression. He's got it going on, man. The guy's
he's definitely
he knows he should win.
Yeah.
He knows he should win. You know, like he goes there. If he gets a bad start, he doesn't look at those guys as other riders, and he looks at them as floating, moving tough blocks. I think like, that's how you got to be. You got to have that mentality. Like you're just he's seeing through these guys, just seeing a hole, taking it, and slamming and moving forward. And you're gonna make some enemies doing that, but you're also gonna win some races and
you're gonna make some money though.
That you're still going to cash. Yeah.
Yeah, big time, dude. It's great. You know what I reckon is the fucking coolest thing about this light season is that you've got Ferrandis, who kind of won the championship by like default last year, if you want to say that, with like with AC throwing it away the way he did. It's like if AC stays on, he wins the title. All right? Nothing, no one really wants to argue that. And if Faulkner didn't throw away his title, then Chase Sexton doesn't win. But who are the 2 dudes that come out with these like asterisks next to their titles and just completely fucking owned the next season, like they dominated the season before? Because there's definitely been champions in the past where they've kind of had that, like they've won a title in like that kind of way, and then the next year they just sort of like
dominate. Yeah,
they didn't dominate the same way. Whereas it's like the way that Ferrandis is riding, it's like he's won the last 3 titles. He's on some Tedesco shit, and it's like the same with Sexton. Sexton's just riding like a fucking animal. But it's like both of those guys kind of have an asterisk on that number 1 plate. But this year, nah. Like, you'll never even think about that again.
Well, I think, you won't. Definitely. I guess, I think with Sexton, maybe a little bit just because Forkner hadn't lost a race until he blew his knee out.
Yeah, ACL.
So that one's kind of like, but if he goes and backs it up right now, nobody's really going to like trip on it at all.
Yeah.
It's just going to be.
Yeah, he'll just be a 2-time champion, not a 1-time.
Nobody's going to worry about it. Yeah, but nobody's going to worry about it anyways. You look at the record books, you see the number. I mean, the moto historians will go in there. Oh yes, but this happened.
Yeah. It's just kind of cool though that like that's out the window now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's great for those guys. But Sexton, he's been riding really strong. But I wouldn't say that. He's riding amazing. Like the guy's, he's the smoothest. Well, I shouldn't say he's the smoothest. Like him and McElrath are the only 2 guys that ride 250s like so smooth.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They ride it totally different than everybody else. Everybody especially I'd say Forkner and Ferrand, it's like those guys are panic revving it and just going nuts.
Yeah.
And Sexton and McElrath kind of do the same thing. They round the corners nice and big and just carry momentum, make the triples out of the turns on 250s look simple. Their bikes are good, but the way they're rounding their turns and just carrying momentum and seat bound, like they're insane. Like after the first round though, after Tampa, I was like, I was pretty badass going into Tampa. Like I'm in the mix here, I still got it. And then
look at this mustache, motherfuckers.
Then I seen McElrath riding, and I was like, oh yeah, nobody's gonna beat that guy this year. Like,
really?
He was so good. Like he was so good. I'm like, oh yeah, never mind. Like I'm not like I was thinking I was really gonna win, but I thought I was gonna at least have something for those guys. And at the first round, I did not. He was on a whole nother level. And then next round's in, then it started to get mixed up. Then that's when it started. Like everybody kind of started to show some fight. Even Hampshire was on the gas, and
dude,
Marchbanks won too. He's like,
he looked good when he won too. Like the way he won that race was just like, Jesus fuck, like leave him alone, dude.
Yeah, it was like he was like the main guy I battled with at all the races, or the first 3 races. Like me and that guy were next to each other the whole time. Because I don't think we're both like a little bit bigger, and neither one of us were getting like the best starts for the most part. And so we there in battling, and I was like every week I'm like, got to try to get Marchbanks, But I've been having a blast racing with him because he's just a really good rider. He's like he's respectful on and off the track. Like I like the kid. Yeah. He's actually Ivan Tedesco is his trainer, his like riding coach.
Sick.
And but
dude,
yeah,
that's a guy.
I'm like I'm kind of putting myself like, oh, that's the guy, like that's the next guy. If I can beat him, that's like then I'm improving,
Yeah.
Then he goes and wins, and you're like, oh fuck.
And then he goes out and just smokes everybody. And it was funny because I went down twice at Daytona, so he's coming around to lap me, and I see that he's winning, and I'm just like throwing it up at him.
You're like, go for it, partner.
I was legitimately stoked for him because, like I said, we've been cutting our teeth battle in the back of the pack, and then he got a good start and just checked out.
Fuck, that's cool, dude. That's so cool that you can have that like attitude towards it. Like that's a mature, like that's like an old dude's attitude.
Like, you go, son.
Yeah. You're like, you know what?
I'm proud of you, little buddy.
Well, he's a cool kid, Like he just,
awesome.
I like his. I just, you meet people and you're like, I really, like.
I like this guy.
Nice,
this guy's my friend.
Yeah, exactly.
So how's your riding been going? Like, you said that you like in our first episode of this
episode 0
of this, you were saying that you sort of like felt like you were really getting your bike together, and that it was the first few rounds you hadn't done much work to it, and now you'd sort of tested some stuff.
Yeah, well, I was doing Australian Supercross, then I came back and had to get straight into snow bikes. And I was just flying back between like snow bike racing, like one weekend.
just being everything guy.
And it was good. Like I felt like in shape and ready to go. But where my suspension guy Enzo, he's on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. I didn't really ever get my suspension totally dialed. Like I was sending stuff back and forth, which, I had 2 weeks
That's
to get
rough.
it, Yeah, I mean, I was riding a lot, but I had really like 2 weeks of straight only focusing on Supercross before the season started. And we were getting it going in the right direction. But we were running stock suspension that was just being revalved.
Yeah.
So then I ended up finding a couple of sets of like KYB like kit forks.
Yeah.
And got some and sent those in and sent them to Enzo, got them dialed. Like the first time they sent them to me, I was just like, oh my God, this is what I've been missing. And then also, we were running stock cams. Like we didn't have our full engine package in yet for that season. And then I got everything together, tested it, and actually I tested my race bike and got done, threw it in the truck, and I drove I think it's 12 hours or something to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And then I pulled up, and as I pulled up, they're all, race is canceled. So I finally got all my good stuff, and then drove
ready to
all
roll
the way there just to make sure I'd have it. And I had to get there a day early for press day, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, no, it's done."
And then did you just get it out of the trailer and rev it so Marchbanks knew you had a better bike?
Hey, bro, I was bringing the heat, but shit's cancelled now. I definitely would have beat you.
Hey, you're fucking lucky, punk.
Did you see my So I was messing around at press day a couple weeks before. I did like a big one-handed point like I won over the finish line jump, just messing around. I'm like, I know that. I did it because I knew everybody would take pictures. I'm like, that'll come in handy later. And, after they canceled it, I posted something like, "Yeah, those guys didn't stand a chance this weekend. I showed up for this. Nobody wanted to race.
Would have smoked you guys anyway."
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking so funny, dude.
Many people are saying that, like, "Oh, this would have been my weekend."
Oh, fuck, that's funny, dude.
Yeah, see, that's what Jace will start saying because Day in the Dirt's been cancelled here this year. And I've beat Jace 2 years in a row. And he's just going to be claiming like, "Oh, fuck, I would have smoked you this year, man."
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get...
What, try and take me out again and fucking fall down a hill like last time?
Did you hear that story?
No.
Oh, I just fucking tried to clean out Sammy. Like, did the old look back and just free rev my bike.
And I heard him coming, so I jumped on the brakes and he missed me and went down a hill.
So there was I went to the outside of the track and it was like a mud hole, dude, like as deep as my bike. And I'm like, I just fucking over the bars, dude.
And I literally came around and was just like...
I was like, fuck this.
That's
cunt.
the best.
And it
The
was
best part was when I came off the track and your mum high-fived me and said, "You beat Jace again." Family support, bruh.
I'm gonna get
That's
a fucking, I'm gonna get a thing made with my lap time up here and then Sam's lap time on the other side.
Hey.
Just to be a
Is
dog.
the race to do with who finishes the line first or who gets the fastest lap time?
Yeah, no, you won.
I was ready for a three-peat. Some Jordan shit.
We're doing a fucking mid 2000 two-stroke build off, and we were gonna copy I was gonna do Chad's bike and then Sam was gonna do Ricky's bike or one of just a factory bike, and then we're like, fuck that, let's go. Dude, we're like, let's go old school and do Australian factory bike. So I'm going to do the Boost Mobile CDR bike from '04.
Sick.
And then Sam's going to do J Marmont's KTM 250.
Sick.
Those
Those are good looking bikes. Those years.
Dude.
That's good luck without the linkage on that KTM, but
I won't
it's gonna
make
look
too
sick.
much of a difference to how I ride it at Josh.
we haven't run this idea past Langston yet. We might get some pushback from Langston about that 05 KTM.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
No,
I feel like that one fucked him up
that's
a
a
little.
good looking bike.
They were sick. Like those what were they here? Motor X.
Motor X.
No Fear, Motor X bikes. Weren't they?
Dude, that's right. They had
Dude,
no
I spoke
fee.
to Jay, and Jay's like, "Fuck, I wish I still had mine." And I was like, "I wish you still had yours too."
Yeah, we should. Yeah, we should definitely get. Well, we were thinking too. I might get Shane Boyd to come and because at Day in the Dirt they do the team races. So Shane Boyd was riding for CDR back then, So I was like, I'll get
Yeah.
Boydie, and then we'll do like a team race, and I'll have Boydie, and then he'll get Marmont, and then we could do like the team race on the replica bikes with the dudes that raced them.
That'd be sick.
That would be, man. Boydie, like he's still
Boydie's
gnarly.
good, really good still.
Like, I mean, those guys used to battle back in the day, but who gets the nod now?
I feel like Boydie, dude. Boydie
rides every day. Jay
Yeah.
works in the mines.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Boydie.
But
seems
Jay
like
can
he
still
just
ride
keeps
really
getting
good
better
too. I saw some
almost.
photos of him the other day, like ripping.
I raced him at Manjimup. I think he beat me like not that long ago.
Jay or Boydie?
I think I raced him. Did he race? No,
Who?
Jay Marmont, or maybe he was just there mechanicking.
Nah, it might have been his
Marmont.
brother, Ryan.
Who knows?
I don't know.
No,
I'm
no.
not- I wanted
Jay must have been the team manager. Never mind, I didn't race him.
Nah.
Oh, yeah.
He was just
dude.
there. I didn't race him. He was just there.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
you raced like Gibbsy and
Never
that. And then Jay was the team manager
Yeah.
that year. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I kind of
That's
want to
the
go do Manjimup. Would you do that again? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I would do it. Like when I went there before, I just like that was my first. That race was my first ride back from the crash that literally like took like I quit racing from. Like
Yeah.
I collapsed both my lungs and broke my collarbone. Like I got a call to come race it. They're like, "You want to race?" And I was like, it wasn't like crazy money or anything, but it was sounded like a fun deal to come
Yeah.
to. So I was like, yeah, I'll come. So I just went and raced I raced a Penrite Honda, and I hadn't ridden a Honda, and I hadn't even ridden. So I went there and I started out not very good, but then by the end of the day, I was actually like kind of in the mix. Not like with
Yeah.
Gibbs, like he was kind of on another level from just about everybody that day. But yeah, it was
Have
fun.
you,
I don't remember what I got, but
Do you when you ride the Hondas, do you think about like the front end feel like that everyone talks about? Because like I've ridden them forever, so I kind of don't really notice it. But like, do they feel? Is that like your thing with Hondas that they feel weird in the front end?
see, this might get me in trouble, but every time I sit on a Honda, it's like it's the best feeling bike ever when I sit on it. Like if I in
Yeah.
the showroom floor and I sit, I'm like, this is how a dirt bike should feel.
Yeah.
But then when you ride it and you start going fast, like I think in a stock form they are twitchy in the front. Is what
Yeah.
everybody, that's kind of the consensus. I think they've
Yeah.
gotten better. But
Yeah.
I mean, that was for me. I went from a Yamaha, which is kind of like you steer with the rear,
Yeah.
and to a Honda 450 that it's real kind of twitchy in the sand or in the front. And I was racing it in the sand at Manjimup, so it took me a while. Like by the end of the weekend, I was in the mix, and I got on the podium a couple of times in some of the little races.
Yeah.
So that was cool because you race like 6 times there.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like I feel like you race so many times. They have like the elimination races, and they have like it's a bunch of like it's like one moto's long, one moto's like medium, some are like 3 laps or
right.
something or whatever. Yeah, that was just right for me at that time. But,
Well,
yeah,
because
it was
like
fun.
yeah, that's like the one thing. It's always interesting when you hear because like I've only really ever rode Hondas, and you are right. Like that, they do have that showroom feeling. Because like when I sit on a Yamaha 250F, like because for me right now, a Yamaha 250F is the best bike. Like the best bike I've ever
We
ridden.
had so much fun at Townley's on those things, eh?
But like you sit on them and they don't feel like that good. I'm like, it's kind of fat. It feels sort of like a little flatter. Like the seat to bars is kind of like feels like flat and tight, and it's like it doesn't feel like that good. But
Then you ride it and it's
then you
sick.
ride it and like the last place I rode that thing, I rode Wind Masters in the fucking like just a grass field in New Zealand, and it was like wet and slippery. I was riding a Honda 450, and it's like there was this one left-hand sort of long apex sort of turn, and then it got tighter, and I was like sitting down. I had to do like everything right to like get this turn, and I felt sketchy every time. And then on the fucking Yamaha, I like stood up pretty much like right until the very end, like where the apex got super tight, and I was just like, there's something fucking weird going on with this bike that it works like this good.
Yeah, I mean, I love my Yamahas. I didn't like them in 2015 at all. Like I didn't like the bike, and I still have a 2015, and it's
Cheers for
definitely not
saying
my
that too.
favorite
That video
bike,
did
but-
really well on YouTube.
What's that?
when you were talking about like how much you hated that 250F, that video fucking blew up on YouTube, bro.
Oh no, that was 2007. I'm talking about the 2015 when they turned the bund and all that. It was 2010 when they did that, but
Oh yeah.
I never was like a big fan of it for like the first 8 years that it was around, with it turned around.
Yeah.
And the bike kind of got like a bad rap for being hard to, tough to ride at the time. But now I love it. Like the 18 on, they're awesome. Like
Yeah.
They sit right, they feel right, and they've got them so like they're just reliable and killer. Like the power is the best power out of anybody. I think just how responsive it is, and just every time you fire it up, it works perfect. No matter
Yeah, well,
where
I think
you
it's
are. It's
it
awesome.
says a lot too that you're like we're actually down to ride a 250F again, like and race at a professional Supercross level.
Oh yeah, like the Yamaha 250 F2 is I think it's kind of leading the class in power. It makes it to where a privateer guy like me can send the engine off to Twisted and be almost as good as some of the factory bikes out there, maybe even better than some of the factory bikes.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's I'm sure some are faster than others, but this it's good, man. Like Twisted Development worked with the thing really good. I mean, that guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he can make shit go fast, eh?
Yeah, Jamie knows what's going on. Those bikes they're rocket ships. I mean, my only whole shot of my entire career in the States was on a privateer 250F.
How good's that?
That makes sense.
Yeah, and then my only other one before that, the only other whole shot of where I've ever got before that was in New Zealand.
Really?
Last year. So my starts are improving.
I'm just gonna.
I've been working on them for like 20 something years now, and they're
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna travel all around the world, and I'm gonna do all these different starts, and then like surely I'll get a whole shot.
Yeah, I start last on a snow bike though every time. I haven't figured that out yet.
Hey, one person that I fucking think is like the perfect fit for Manjum Up is J Law.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he would probably ride that sand really good out there.
I feel like
he's good in the sand.
the sand in WA is just next level, eh? What's the one that?
Wanneroo.
Man, I remember going there to the Motocross Nationals and watching Cachia ride that thing,
Fuck.
and I was just like, "What the fuck is going on? Why is it so deep? It's so gnarly."
Dude, Cachia rides sand good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys ever got to go to the Rocks and watch him back in the day?
Dude, I did I was like the first person to film the Rocks. Like me and him went there like JDR days, and it was like,
Yeah.
fuck, he was like young too, man. Like we
Oh,
were both young, and like I just had the loosest fucking 5 days there with that whole crew, bro. Like we did some weird fucking
Yeah,
shit,
these guys are...
and we made this edit, and I was like wondering because I'm pretty sure we drove from Melbourne together to go. Maybe like me and Mosig drove from Melbourne down there. Fuck, I wish I could remember that trip actually.
Oh, it would have been.
But
Nice.
yeah, we stayed and I was just like tripping the whole time. And like the sand, like the shit that we found and like the stuff, I had like all my cameras and shit. And I'm like riding this quad over the fucking gnarliest dunes and like the tide had come up on the beach and I'm having to send this quad through the fucking water.
That Moto 4 or whatever that clip is that
Alan Hardy did that.
That Alan did with Cachia is fucking one of the most all-time moto clips ever. You've seen that? You've seen
I
that?
agree,
Obviously,
100%. Yeah,
it's so sick.
that might be the best. That might be the best clip from the Moto series. That was a really good deal that they did with him. That was sick.
So sick.
But
Did you go down there?
So beautiful.
Did you go there? Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. We raced. We had a Supercross. We had a Supercross somewhere in South Australia, and so we raced that. I ended up winning that, and then we went straight to Cachia's over there at the Rocks. And
This Hart and Huntington days.
yeah, so yeah, when I was 2013. So we went straight from this. Yeah, so we went straight from there. Me and Mosig, and we hung out we hung out for a few days, and it was Jacob Wright was there. Jacob Wright was there too. I'm pretty
Sick.
Really?
I'm pretty sure
What a
Jacob Wright
crew.
was on that trip. Yeah, and it was nuts, man. Like probably the most scared I've ever been in a vehicle in my entire life was when one of his cousins like
Yeah.
late at night decided to show us his drifting skills with a, some beater car that they picked up, at a garage sale or something for like $1,000, and going as fast as it would go down these dark, sandy, gravelly roads. It was definitely, and I don't know, like, I didn't know those guys that well yet out there, and we'd all been having a good time up till this point, and then it was like, yeah, let's go for a cruise. And I think they were trying to scare me too, and like there was a little bit of a language barrier out there too for me, like being in Australia my first time. Like,
I don't know what you guys are saying.
Had some different lingo. But at the end of the day, it was like a trip I'll never forget. It was so much fun. I had a blast. The riding there was like the most insane ever. I mean, Cachia let us hang out and showed us. I mean, we were riding our bikes like to the gas station to go fill them up between rides, like riding dirt bikes down to get fish and chips or whatever it was. And,
Dude, how's Cody one? We were in like, I don't know, they had like the little kind of hangout shed area, and there was a fucking octopus that he'd caught in this like fish tank, and then he like gets this fucking octopus and like just grabs this thing, dude, and it's like just flails over the tank and is just like stuck on all four walls, and he just like rips his fucking octopus out and then just like bites the fucking head of his octopus and like just while this thing's alive, and then cooks it. And I was just like, where the fuck are we?
What just happened?
And you just hear it just go, like as he pulls his octopus off. I was like, dude, where the fuck are we?
It's like it reminded me of like what it was like to be a pirate.
Dudes
were like, like, sick.
That's so
they lived
good.
their own. They had the sickest life going. It was just like having fun, riding dirt bikes,
dirt bike
fishing,
pirates,
dirt bike pirates, just winging it through the dunes, doing whatever. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was one of the best. Something I won't forget. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man, to do that trip down there. And like the gnarliest thing about when you do a trip like that, nothing can actually prepare you for that. Like no one could have told you what you're in for. Like even if they tried to explain it, like you're like, all right, so we're going to Mexico, and like it's gonna be like this, and it's gonna be like that, and you can, okay, I get it. I feel like that there's just like not that many words where you could like tell someone what they're in for.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, not to mention that it's just set in like the most beautiful landscape you've ever seen. Like the water is like clear,
so clear,
and blue, and there's like shipwrecks along the ocean, and we're riding dirt bikes, like literally like making jumps like
off
right
the
on the
shipwreck.
beach.
Yeah,
like, I mean, it was. It was just an experience. I mean, that those guys were just hanging out with those guys and experiencing that with them was like just the cherry on top. It was insane.
Yeah, dude. Nah, so true.
That's sick. You would have gone some pretty crazy places. Like dirt bikes have taken you to some pretty,
Dude, Hill's probably like one of the dudes where dirt bikes have taken him the most places. Like you've probably done the most random shit, I reckon, out of most like. Fuck, I don't know who else has done as much weird shit as you on a bike.
Like, have you done like? Did you do that like Supercross in like South Africa and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've won Supercross races in 4 continents, dog.
Oh fuck!
I'm the reigning African Supercross champion.
That is amazing.
That, like, on the little title right there on the bottom. I didn't get paid for it, but it was sick. I got the check.
Did you get a trophy?
Yeah, I did. It's actually a better trophy too. It's like
we're good then.
It took me forever to get it because we couldn't get it through customs because I think it has like real.
Because it had spears on it and fucking tiger blood.
Like kudu horns or something on it. I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But I've Supercross Africa, raced a bunch of stuff in Europe, and then made it down to Australia and raced in Canada. I've raced in Mexico, Mexican Supercross. Now that's the real deal, Mexican Supercross.
So what happens in Mexican
I didn't win down
Supercross?
There though.
You didn't win? Who won down there? El Chavo's son?
Jared Steinke is the king of Mexican Supercross.
Stank dog.
Really?
Stank dog.
Yeah.
Stank Dog, yeah. Like it's now that's the gnarliest race experience you'll get.
Tell me about it.
It's pretty nuts. It's this little so the city that we fly into there's literally a monument there that's like the center of Mexico, like the heart, like it's the most center part of mainland Mexico.
Yep.
And Mexico is super nice on the beaches, but it definitely has some areas that aren't always the safest. But they have this Supercross in Fresnillo, which is about an hour or a couple hours drive from there. So you fly in, to the middle of Mexico, and you get in a van. This dude picked us up, and then we would stay. I didn't know what I was getting into. It was on those retirement. It was one of those things where I would take vacation days for 2 days from my working job to go race a Supercross, so I could make a little extra money on the side, But I was totally really, was not prepared. So we go down there, and they have a Suzuki team, and they normally they have Mexican dudes down there that race they have this motocross series. And so the bikes are, Suzuki's, fairly decent, new Suzuki's, but they've got MX suspension for, probably quite a bit smaller Mexican rider that it's not a Supercross spec. Let's put it that way. And then the track it's just in a big giant crater in the center of town. And they went and just there's dirt steps cut into it, and you sit in dirt. And then the VIP section, it's some dudes went out there with some cement and made these 4-foot steps, and it's in a hole, and then they string Christmas lights from one side to the other, bring in the Tecate girls and a couple of big lights on the side, so it's kind of lit up. And it's insane. And then they put on a race, and there's actually they have an amateur Supercross, and they got every class on up. So it's Supercross Futures meets Mexican Supercross. And I've got some stuff on my Instagram. I'll have to send it to you guys, but it's pretty insane. The start gate is you starting gate down the straight, and then about 100 feet out is a lip. And then it's about an 80-90 foot, nobody really does it, but you can do it. And it's an 80-90 foot step down hip to the left on the gate. And yeah, and luckily, I guess my starts are good too, because I pulled the whole shot and hucked this thing.
Well, there you go.
And I've got footage of it somewhere, but it's insane. Anyways, then when you're done riding, in between practice and the race, you just ride your dirt bike down the street, go pick up some whatever you feel like drinking, get some tacos off the street, and we're just literally me and Stank Dog were riding around, pick up some tequila, grab some cervezas, and ride wheelies down the street. It was a great place to go after being retired, or being retired for a point.
You were like an expat Supercross rider.
If I was Mitch Payton, I wouldn't be sending my up and comers down there.
Yeah. So it's literally like being Kenny Powers and getting sent down.
Playing in the market.
Went down and did some Supercross in Mexico. Just waiting to get called back up to the majors.
Yeah.
Look at me now. Hey, look at me
exactly
now.
What happened.
Which worked out perfect. And then fucking 2020.
My life off that story.
Dude. Alright, this is a new thing.
Hey,
this
that
is
was me. I'm doing the media stuff. It's just the end, we got the sports show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Worldwide.
Dude, this is
destiny.
Dude, this is our new content piece for Gypsy Tales. It's basically fuck that's delicious, except it's Josh Hill riding random Supercross races around the world and eating street food, and me, you, and Sam are gonna fucking travel around and do it.
I don't mind that.
Let's hit up the weirdest fucking Supercross races that we can.
There's got to be ones in Costa Rica and
100%.
Guam. I got these dudes. It's at their house. They have a pretty sick track, and they're Guatemalan, and they have a track at their house, and lights and everything, string them up, freestyle ramps, and then they invite everybody down to race their race, and it's like a Supercross event, at their house in Guatemala.
We literally have everything
races.
we need in this room to fucking pull this off. We got 3 of us that can have.
We've got everything. There's the 3 of us.
There's cameras. We got fucking streeters there as well. So there's 4 of us. We can get a decent bike in 4 gear bags and the camera shit that we need, and then we just go and make Fuck That Supercross.
Let's do it. Hey, there's
I'm down.
If you type in on YouTube too, you guys will get a kick out of this one. Like somehow they like hijacked the Australian Supercross tag, but India has a Supercross series as well.
Fuck. See, this is gonna happen.
And it's worth a look, because I was trying to watch before I went to Australia this year. Like before I came over to do it, I was like, I need to do my research, do my homework, watch these races, see what the tracks are like. So I just be on my spin bike, just watching YouTube videos, and and it goes like play next. Like it was like a full 3 hour and 30-minute broadcast of India Supercross.
Wow,
dope as fuck.
And well, it's like it looks kind of cool actually. They got a lot of fans there and like big gate of people, but every jump is a step down. and so it's just like you do like a 180 turn, it's like step down, step down, step down. But you could be like, if you had a real bike, if like you've somehow like greased
just quad everything,
some dude money, you could literally like, you would be the crowd favorite, because if you had a bike that ran and you had stiff suspension, you could like quad all these things.
That's so
and it would be gnarly. Sick. And then you'd be like the hero of all heroes over there, I feel like.
We could do this, eh? Like we for sure could do this. I wonder, like, I'm fucking doing it. Like I'm just gonna book your ticket. We'll make sure there's nothing conflicting, and then we'll do it. We've got a Fist and Dixon sponsorship.
There you go.
And then we've got all the Gypsy Tales can take care of the production. So it's like we're fucking pretty much there already, boys. Like this is like.
Dude, do you know where else has a fucking crazy Supercross series?
Where?
Is Indonesia.
Yeah, dude.
So Louis Woods.
Hey, I'm fucking all about Bali, boys.
Dude,
we can go there whenever.
Louis Woods won a Supercross championship.
Oh, hey, hold on. I got an alarm going off. I'm listening. I'm listening.
Someone's trying to steal the fucking 97 Blacks that's in his house. Someone trying to jack your Tesla?
I just have this alarm system. It's got this one that's it's got like a sensor that's got a battery or something, so every like 5 hours it just beeps for no reason.
Oh, sick.
That sounds like one of those. That sounds like one of those annoying things you kind of never get around to fixing, and you just live with.
Exactly.
Yeah, but so Louis Woods won a Supercross title in Indonesia, and he won a car.
What?
Yeah, so it's sponsored by Suzuki.
Did he drive it back?
And then so like at the last race, they're like, "Here's your car," and he's like, "Oh, sick. What am I supposed to do with this?"
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I love just traveling to new places, like trying food, seeing what the whole racing scene's about, like around the world. It's cool. I mean, before I went to Mexico for the Supercross, like I had no idea that they were like, dudes down there. I mean, I knew dudes rode dirt bikes in Mexico, obviously, but I didn't know like in like the, Mexico that full blown like motocross scene like this, and that was really cool. I mean, there was probably 10,000 spectators there. There was probably, I mean, there was more spectators at this than at some races that I've been to that are like, supposed to be high profile races. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool. I mean,
That's
everybody's wearing knockoff Monster and Fox t-shirts. Like sometimes you'll get like the Monster. They're selling like the Monster, Rockstar, Red Bull, Fox Thor tees. Huge vendors
like you see on
like,
Facebook and shit.
Yeah,
they just pumped out every logo.
Yeah, there's just all kinds of black market moto goods down there. It's awesome.
That's fun. Yeah, dude. This is a sick idea. I feel like we could pull this off.
Have you ever been at a weird Supercross like that, and there's been people selling like black market Josh Hill merch?
I'm not. I haven't made it yet. I'm not. Because
I feel like that's when you've made it.
I'm not like Ken Roxon, where like people are making fakes with a fake signature. Like I don't think I ever. Like and me, like I'd probably actually, if I thought it was fake, it was probably real, and I gave it to him and forgot.
Yeah.
Dude, I had a bench racing topic I thought about. We posted that this clip where like Todd Waters was talking about like how much faster Hurlings was than him at like Lommel on practice days and just like how retarded it was. He said he was literally like 10 seconds a lap faster than him, and like Todd was running like 12th in the World Championship, and that made me wonder like who's the fucking European GOAT? Because like when you think about
Stefan Everts.
Yeah, but is he though? Because like you think about,
he is.
well, so this is the question. Because you think like, so this is, I'm not going to throw out an answer just yet. I want to hear from you boys. But you think about like Todd. Todd was getting podiums like a few years ago. And then all of it, like Hurlings and that whole pack, like that, they've just leapfrogged him by so much to where he was like a 12th place dude. But then you look at Caroli, who's got what, 9 titles? So he's one short of Everts. But think about the generations and the speed that Caroli's had to adapt to. Like, probably way more than Everts did, right? And it's, again, not taking anything away from Everts, but it's like he's won 9 championships and he's had to deal with literally a completely new, like, a revolution in riding. You know what I mean? Like, is Caroli the GOAT of Europe?
He's still current. You know what I mean? He could win the championship this year. And
that's what I'm saying.
Like without a shadow of a doubt. You know, a good point. I mean, it's hard for me to say because I was like 5 years old when Everts was winning. You know? Like,
yeah, it's true.
You know, like I guess pretty much Greg Albertine went in. He won like 2 or 3 world championships over there in the '90s, right? In the premier class, the 250 class.
Yeah.
And then when he came to the States, that's kind of when Everts and Tortelli took over as like the dudes over there.
Yeah.
But the one thing I would say is for Everts was racing, there was also 3 classes that you could race. There was 125.
Dude, that's so true.
500.
Yeah.
And like Joel Smets could like I mean again, like my history, I don't know enough about Euro racing like from back then.
Yeah,
to be able to tell, but it seemed like Joel Smets was kind of like pretty gnarly. He could beat Everts, you know, a good portion of the time, but they would not always race the same class, I think. So that's kind of another, because it was that mix up of what's the real premier class? Is it the 500 open or is it the 252 stroke?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, and then also you'd have guys there with move up rule, so guys would stay like. Alessio Chiotti would like stay and just destroy everybody on 125s for years.
Yeah,
so
true, huh?
You're making some good points,
it was
Josh.
different. I think now it really is like there's one premier class in GPs, and like once you're 24 years old, you can't go back to MX2.
Yeah,
you have to race that class. So I mean, like I said, I wasn't there, so I don't know what's harder, but it would seem that they've funneled everybody into one class now.
Yeah. And if you win that one class, there's no doubt.
Like you can't go race the 500 class because you want to get away from somebody. Like you're racing this class.
All right, Caroli's the GOAT.
So is Caroli the GOAT then?
I think so.
He's definitely great. I don't know. It's hard for me to be the judge and say like I don't want to say who's the GOAT. You know, I've met both those guys. Like they're both insane, and I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Caroli's faster than Everts. You know,
right but now. I mean, but yeah, like
and his equipment. I mean, it's different too because the equipment in those days was probably so much rougher on your body back then, and. I think at one point they had to do 2 45-minute motos, I think, at one point in the GPs.
The fucking
sickos, I mean,
yuck.
I don't know. And like they wouldn't prep the tracks all weekend.
That's right. Europe, they just leave him early.
Some of the tracks had road sections, like Namur, I think, had a road section. Oh yeah,
Namur in Belgium, right?
It's comparing apples. The way I look at it, it's comparing apples to oranges. It's almost the same way I look at like who's faster, Americans or Euros. It's like we'd spend 80% of our year racing Supercross, and they spend 20% racing motocross, and they spend 100% racing motocross.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if we had a Supercross world champion, or a Supercross of Nations, like I'm pretty stoked on our team.
But
yeah.
Except for Anders will clean them all out, and France will win again.
What if France? Actually, France could still win.
Yeah, dude, they got
France
Marv.
could still win because they've got
have
Marv
fucking
and
Marv, Dylan, and then
Someone else.
they don't even need anyone else at that point.
well, I mean,
Who would be the third French rider?
they
Dude,
got
that
guys
Brian
that
Moreau
could-
kid was looking so good.
yeah, he was. He definitely was looking good. I was pumped to race him. He's a good kid. I've been a fan of his for a long time. That was hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we get some good
hopefully
news on that.
Hopefully you can get some good news, or either that or Elon Musk will fix it.
Fuck right, dude. You getting that neuronet shit or what? You gonna fucking you gonna drop that shit in?
Maybe
Going in for an
that'll get my
upgrade?
left. That might get my left leg working again. I don't know.
Maybe.
He had a good sales pitch the other day.
Oh, yeah, I do actually feel like, though, Josh, to complete your career, you probably need to go to Europe and race GPs. It's the only thing you haven't
Yeah,
done.
you need to go loop out in
That
Qatar,
would
bro,
be-
and then you've done everything.
That would be that wouldn't be good for me. I'm
Nah, EMX, bro. Get in with those kids on a two-stroke.
again, it still wouldn't be good for me. It worked. Like if I got in the top 10 in the slowest class there, I'd probably be pumped.
Yeah. So while we're doing
It's
like
different.
while we're doing predictions, I want Josh Hill's predictions for the Monster Energy Supercross season 2020. Who's winning
Whoa.
each class and why?
And you can't choose yourself.
No, well, I'll choose
Well,
Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going
I don't
people's
even
champion.
even with 7 rounds left. I don't think I'm still even mathematically in it. I think
Fuck
I'm
that
in
shit.
8th
We
or
can
something in
change some
points.
rules.
Who's gonna win?
Yeah, 450 class.
You know, I guess like we just talked about this. It depends on where they have it. I think
Yeah.
that really does have a huge factor in it, in where they have it. I think again, like I said, if it's Salt Lake, I'm gonna go. If it's Salt Lake, at all of them, I'm gonna say Tomac's gonna win the 450. McElrath is gonna win
Ooh.
250 East because he's got a fast bike and it's high altitude.
Yeah.
And he's just he trains, does all his stuff on the West Coast. He's been a West Coast guy his whole life. That's a West Coast track. I'm going McElrath. And then Ferrandis, I'm gonna say no matter where they put it, I'm still kind of putting my money on him unless something funky happens.
Yeah.
So and then if you go back, I don't know. I guess if you go to Phoenix, it's kind of I would say even the same thing. I think 7 rounds in Phoenix, I think McElrath is going to I would give him the nod. I think he's 8 points down or something like that, 9 points down. Everybody's forgetting it's still pretty tight. Unless I'm way off here, but I think that's
No, it is tight.
it is.
Yeah.
But then maybe I think you'd give I might have to go with Roxon at Phoenix just because of how dominant he was this year. And Eli has had some up and down races there.
Yeah. Can you physically see, like, to me, it looks like the reason why you see, like, I feel like Eli just has one speed and it's fast as absolute fuck. Like, that's literally, when he gets on the bike, that's it. It's going as ham as he possibly can, and he's going to blow through shit. The throttle's going to be wide open. He's going to be steering it with the rear, and it's like, that's it. And it either works to the point where nobody can touch him, or it doesn't work at all because he's literally trying to go
Because he's
too
touched
fast
himself.
with it. Well, it's trying to go too fast for what the track can allow. Like, that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, Tomac wants to go faster than his tires will allow him to stick to the dirt,
Yeah.
And Kenny is more, I think they're both, everybody will be like, oh, Tomac's not that talented, or I've heard people say that, and I think that's the dumbest thing ever.
That's retarded.
That guy has days where he does things that are insanely, like the way he stands up through like deep ruts and carries momentum, and the way like he'll do jumps that nobody else thought about doing that day. Like he has those James Stewart moments.
Yeah, he just doesn't look the same doing it.
And then Kenny, I swear Kenny is better now that he's had his injury. Because Kenny now, and I felt the same thing with myself, like when I got hurt, is you find out how to ride smoother when you're trying to protect something. And then if you do that long enough and enough times, like you almost can find better techniques of riding the bike. And Kenny, for as bad as his injury was, he's had to, I think, adapt, and his techniques like almost is better than it was before he got hurt. I mean, in my opinion, watching him, he's less sporadic. Like everything he does, he carries momentum. I'm sure he does that way the same way. I don't see it that me getting hurt was the, but
Yeah.
he's overcame it. It seems like, and almost like, I think he's almost more solid than he ever was.
Yeah. Well, you got to think like
So,
too the mental
and
shit that he's been
put him
through.
on that, yeah. Well, I mean, it can go both ways too. But I think you put him on a real slippery, hard-packed track 7 weekends, and tend to a guy that is used to riding a little bit within himself.
Yeah.
You know, like if Tomac's probably training and going as hard as he can all the time. I mean, I don't know him that well to know his training program, but I assume he's just like hammering. You know, like think about him up in Colorado, just slamming into stuff and going crazy and just finding all this new raw speed. And then I would assume that Ken's probably just riding and being super smooth and gaining like, you know, a tenth every day possibly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like that's what he's shooting for.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you get on a slick track, the more aggressive style tends to bite people.
Yeah.
And I think slick tracks are harder to pass on.
Yeah.
So can't get really. That's probably the main reason why I would give, if it's in Phoenix, he would on paper have the nod.
Gonna be sick.
But then also Tomac just kind of destroyed it. Like Tomac at Daytona was one of the most badass rides of all time. And
Tomac at Daytona this year?
At one point, yeah. Like I was watching on the stands just like after my race, just in my gear still watching, just like with my jaw out. Like it was pretty insane how good he rode. That's why I get like the way he rode there, like that's the most technical track in Supercross, like for, you know, in different ways with ruts and bumps and all that kind of stuff and being slippery. And
not to mention you can't see that good.
Yeah, it's not the best. And there's
it's not like super bright, man.
Because there's like, well, there's like 5. It's not the lighting, I've realized. It's they have all that dark dirt.
Yeah, I was gonna say
like
you mix the
reflect
dirt,
off like. Yeah, normally like if the dirt was like a red clay, that place would seem like it was lit up awesome. But because it's like a real dark dirt, but they have like 5 different types of dirt, so that makes it hard too because you can't tell. Like you forget where there's traction and where there isn't. But he was insane there, so we'll see. And then Cooper, just complete spoiler because you know that guy is not going to give up, and he's got nothing and everything to gain. So that could be also a huge factor. And I mean, like, I gotta say, like, I'm a Cooper Webb fan. Like, that guy goes for it. The way he rides, and I mean, he had the season they stomped. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, dude, totally. Well, we'll wrap this show up. This is been Gypsy Tales Worldwide with Joe Hill, Sam Moore, and Guy Streeter doing the switching. And Joe Hill is welcome back on this show as the I feel like you're just like,
no, he's the correspondent.
Yeah, you're
That's
like
what we said last time. He's the foreign correspondent.
Yeah, Joe Hill is our US correspondent going forward for Gypsy Tales Worldwide. Have we still got you there, Joe Hill? Have we still got you?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here live from the scene.
All right, we're gonna cross the Joe Hill here in a minute. So yeah, I feel like we're gonna need you to call in live from the pits after your after Supercross too. So we'll get you in for Supercross companion.
I'll just be like, I'll do it just when the juicy going on. Like if there's like a fun in the pits, or there's some bums doing something like shady around the backside, like I'll come in live. Like we're not gonna like. You guys don't want the mainstream stuff, right?
No.
We want the proper.
You want to know what's really
shit.
like what's happening around the scene. Not
give me the juice.
We don't want the actual scene. We want the things around the scene.
Hey, Gypsy Tales
what's going on in
Worldwide.
the parking lot? Out.
Awesome. Who drank the most amount of beers out tailgating?
We're just straight chasing bougie shit, bro.
Like that note, what's that all gas show? Have you guys seen that?
No, what's that?
Where the guy just goes to like raves and interviews people, just like the most like destroy.
I don't know, but it sounds right up our alley.
I'll send it to you guys. It's great. It's great. Yeah.
Well, look, some great
Yeah,
shits
it's
come
awesome.
out of this show. We've got a new show coming in 2021 whenever borders open. It's called Fuck That Supercross. It'll be featuring Joe Hill. We'll be tearing down a YZF 250 and putting it in
Putting
four
in the
gear
4-gear
bags.
bags and going around the world.
And then we're fucking Gypsy Tales on tour. Thanks for coming, bro. It's been sick. Hopefully this shit recorded because this was fun as fuck.
I hope so. Hey, worst case, we gotta do it again.
Cheers, brother. Good to see ya.
All right, see you, dude.
All right. See you guys. Hey.
The man. He's a fucking best cutter. What are you doing?
Dude, it's so my phone's that funny. All I do is get messages from JB all day, right? Look at this one. This one just says I don't even know what the second half of it says.